Will there be rain? Will there be snow? Or will there be sunshine? It feels like Mother Nature just can't quite decide. As you can see, the clouds are rolling in behind me. There's a slight wind going on, and you see those scattered raindrops here and there. That'll continue till about 3 p.m., and then at about 5, those real rain showers will come in, just as I promised, and they should last about till tomorrow morning. BYU fans are hoping for more Cougar basketball with the NIT tournament. Until then, I guess we'll just have to remember the excitement of Monday night. All in all, one trip to the hospital for a simple injection could save you weeks of coughing and sneezing. In the Midwest, however, they're going to be seeing plenty of rain and some snow, and up here in the Northeast, they won't be getting northeastern, but once again, they'll be seeing some more rain. Well, it is certainly cold outside right now, which means that the snowpack is currently melting, leaving little runoff left for the spring thaw. You should head down to southern Utah. You can go hiking. It's going to be absolutely gorgeous. There's going to be sun. It's almost going to be in the 70s, so like really nothing better than that.
Yes.
So road trip in this blue sky, it's coming your way later this week. And it's going to be an absolutely beautiful day today, but it's not going to last. We'll have more of that coming up in weather. Well, at BYU, the movement has been a little bit slower, but the process to create a safe space for these individuals is well underway. And raindrops are falling on my head, and they might soon be falling on yours. We'll have the full weekend forecast coming up. She says Bishop singled her out, gained her trust, and then sexually assaulted her. And she believes that she is not the only one.
Hi. For those that don't know me, my name's Alan. I'm a 24-year-old here at Utah Valley University. I'm studying communications.
To the outside observer, Alan Ledesma is just like every other young adult. But listen to his voice for a second longer and you might discover a defining characteristic.
And most importantly, I'm a legal immigrant.
Alan's family immigrated from Mexico when he was only 9 years old, choosing to leave behind prosperity for the American dream. 16 years later, Alan can still remember the moment like it was yesterday.
I remember my dad, he asked us to come into his office and he sat us down and he told me and my sister, we're gonna sell all our possessions, we're gonna get tourist visas, and we're gonna come to America, we're gonna live with your uncle and your aunt, and we're gonna start all over again, start fresh.
It was a bold move. A move everyone in the family knew was illegal. Over the course of 10 years, Alan watched his father go from the director of 3 private schools in Mexico to a waiter and furniture mover in New York City.
My dad's my hero. He had dreams and he had hopes. And he worked for those dreams and he worked for those hopes.
Dreams and hopes that would live to inspire the family, even after their father was gone.
My father passed away actually in 2012, the same year that DACA was placed. But if my dad was here or he was there when DACA was put in place, he would be overwhelmed with joy and he would just be excited, and you probably would find a way to help out somehow.
One document changed Alan's status and opened a future of possibilities. 5 years later, another document turned his world upside down.
I was at Chili's. I was working my morning servant shift that day, and my phone went off, and all these notifications from NPR, the New York Times, all these news organizations, DACA has been rescinded. I broke down. It brought some fears that I never knew I had, but it also brought a fire.
Hearing the news awoke something inside Alan. He knew it was time to fight for the dream his father had only imagined years before. Don't give up, just like Alan said.
When DACA was rescinded, it brought me fears, but it also brought me, again, that wake-up call that, hey, this is something that you have to fight for, because if you don't fight for it, no one else is going to fight for it.
Our parents did not come bring us to this country for us to give up.
Alan became an activist and very open about his legal status. He opened clubs and organized marches and rallies in order to put a face with the fight.
I'm doing this because this is what my dad would want me to do. I'm working on my dad's legacy and my own legacy. I hope that I can tell my children, hey, like, I fought for my rights to be a citizen, and I fought for the rights of others.
A fight that might end on the steps of the Capitol, but started in the heart of a father years ago. Kristi Neuberger, 11 News.
School safety is currently at the forefront of everyone's minds, and BYU is no exception. 11 News reporter Kristi Neuberger shows us how BYU is preparing. This content is made to look real and could be too graphic for some viewers. It was a normal day on BYU campus, but walking down into the basement of the JFSB would have left you in shock.
This way, guys. Help us!
Bodies were everywhere. EMTs and nurses rushing to save as many victims as possible. If this looks real to you, that's because it's meant to be real. BYU Disaster Day is planned for more than 3 months in order to make the experience not only fit real-life scenarios, but to make sure no detail is overlooked.
Well, the moulage and everything gets them ready to see the actual injuries, what they're actually going to run into. And so that's one of the big parts, and then just the chaos and how to work through it.
The whole process begins hours before in the HVAC, where makeup artists apply fake burns and cuts to volunteers. The makeup artists work hard to take models looking like this to this. And for more extreme cases, this and this.
And we use it as a training not just for our makeup artists, but also for the EMTs so that they get practice, real practice.
This scenario includes 45 EMTs, 60 nurses, and more than 100 volunteers, and comes at a time when school safety is a big issue.
In this day and age, unfortunately, I think it's really needed. We need to be able to make sure that we have people on campus we can rely on who can respond quickly and know what to do.
For first-timers, the experience took them out of their comfort zone.
I think nurses a lot of times we're used to being in a really controlled environment, and this is not controlled at all. So it takes them totally out of their comfort zone.
BYU will continue to organize Disaster Day in order to be prepared for any kind of attack that could occur in the future. For now, they're thankful this is only practice.
It was chaotic, it was scary, but it was a good learning opportunity for me.
If this sounds like chaos to you right now, that's probably a good thing, because chaos in training now could lead to prevention in the future. Reporting in Provo, Kristi Lee Neuberger, 11 News.
We are live in 3, 2, 1.
Lawmakers might be unable to come to a consensus about how to address gun violence, but this company is making a major change to its gun policy.
2 weeks after a massacre that killed 17 people, the students of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School returned to classes.
Welcome to 11 News at Noon. I'm Jessica Coombs.
And I'm Allison Caffrey. 2 weeks after the deadly shooting in Parkland, lawmakers have yet to come to a decision over gun control. The CEO of Dick's Sporting Goods decided to take a stand.
11 News reporter Kristi Lee Neuberger is in Orem. Kristi Lee, what actions are being taken?
Dick's Sporting Goods is disbanding their sale of assault rifles. And now this is not the only thing they're doing. They're also no longer selling firearms to anyone under the age of 21. CEO of Dick's Sporting Goods store, Edward Stack, is a supporter of the Second Amendment, a supporter who knows that enough is enough.
Our hearts went out to those kids and to their parents, and everybody talks about thoughts and prayers going out to them, and that's great. But that doesn't really do anything.
After the events of Sandy Hook in 2012, the company limited assault rifle sales. With recent events, they will discontinue completely the sale of any assault-like rifle. The most important change: you have to be 21 to buy, a dramatic 3 years older than the legal age. Dick's will also discontinue the sale of high-capacity magazines. Stack says he isn't worried about the backlash.
If these kids are brave enough to organize and do what they're doing, then we should be brave enough to take this stand.
Customers we talked to outside Dick's were in full support of the change.
Thank goodness Dick's has come forward and done something that was just common sense.
I am all for that.
Nicholas Cruz, the individual responsible for the death of 17 students in Florida, once purchased a rifle at Dick's last year.
And we looked at that and found out that we did this. We had a pit in our stomach and said, we don't want to be a part of this story.
The rifle in question was not used during the shooting, but the possibility was enough for Stack. Unlike other companies tied with the NRA, Dick's is openly tying their choices to the actions of Florida. We support and respect the Second Amendment, but we have to help solve the problems that's in front of us. Gun violence is an epidemic that's taking the lives of too many people, including the brightest hope for the future of America, our kids. Stack says he hopes his actions will bring politicians into the conversation and hopefully start that trend towards change. If nothing else, he says his conscience is clear. In Orem, Kristi Lee Neuberger, 11 News.
Thanks, Kristi Lee.